Hey friends, welcome back to this amazing journey. Today, I want to share something very special with you. Do you want to speak English confidently? Do you dream of talking to anyone, watching movies without subtitles, or maybe traveling the world and making new friends? Well, I was just like you. I was scared, shy, and nervous. I couldn't even say a simple sentence correctly. But guess what? Everything changed in just 6 months. Yes, 6 months. In this video, I will tell you my true story, how I went from zero to confident in English in only half a year. I'll tell you my struggles, my mistakes, my daily routine, and the secrets that worked for me. So, if you are serious about learning English, watch until the end. You will feel motivated, and you might even start your own 6-month challenge after this. And hey, before we start, do me a small favor. Hit the like button, comment "I can do it" below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me, and together we can grow as English learners. Alright, let's begin this amazing journey. 6 months ago, I was hopeless. I wanted to learn English, but I didn't know how to start. I remember sitting in my room, staring at my English notebook, feeling frustrated. Every time I tried to speak, I froze. Words didn't come out of my mouth. People laughed when I made mistakes, and that made me feel worse. I thought English was only for smart people or for those who could afford expensive classes. One day, something happened that changed my life. I was at a cafe when a tourist asked me for directions in English. I wanted to help, but I couldn't understand a single word. I felt embarrassed and helpless. That night, I sat on my bed and thought, enough is enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to speak English, no matter how hard it is. So I made a decision. I promised myself that for the next 6 months, I would give my best. I didn't care if people laughed at me. I didn't care if I made mistakes. I was ready to fail, learn, and grow. And that's how my 6-month English journey began. The first thing I did after making my decision was simple. I created a plan. I didn't want to waste time doing random things. So I asked myself 3 questions. 1. What do I want? I wanted to speak English confidently. Not perfectly, just confidently. 2. How much time do I have? I had 6 months. 3. What can I do every single day? Because I knew consistency was the key. I grabbed a notebook and wrote down my plan. My rule was, do something in English every single day. No excuses. Even if it was only 30 minutes, I had to do it. Here's what my first plan looked like. Morning. Listen to English for 30 minutes. Podcasts, YouTube videos, or English songs. I didn't care if I understood everything. I just wanted my ears to get used to English sounds. Afternoon. Learn 10 new words and make simple sentences with them. Evening. Speak to myself in English for 10 to 15 minutes, even if I made mistakes. At first it felt strange. Talking to myself in English felt silly. I stood in front of the mirror and said things like, I am learning English. I am not afraid. I will speak English very soon. I felt shy, even though no one was watching me. But I kept going. The first week was tough. My brain felt tired. Sometimes I wanted to quit because I thought 6 months was too short. But every time I felt like quitting, I remembered that moment in the cafe when I couldn't help the tourist. That feeling of embarrassment pushed me forward. One thing that really helped me was listening to English everywhere. While walking, cooking, or even brushing my teeth, I played English audio. I didn't understand everything, but slowly, I started catching familiar words. The first time I understood a full sentence from a podcast, I smiled like a child who just learned to ride a bicycle. Another big step was writing a daily English diary. Every night, I wrote 5 to 10 sentences about my day. For example, today I studied English. I learned the word confident. I feel happy because I am improving. My sentences were simple and full of mistakes, but I didn't care. What mattered was practice. After 2 weeks, something amazing happened. I started to feel more comfortable with English. I was still slow, but I was no longer scared to think in English. My confidence grew little by little, like a small plant slowly growing leaves. I realized something important in those early days. Perfection kills progress. If you wait to speak perfectly, you will never start. I allowed myself to make mistakes, and that made learning fun. The first month passed, and I was no longer the same person. I felt excited every day because I could feel small improvements. I could understand basic sentences, and I could introduce myself without fear. This was just the beginning, but it gave me hope, and hope is powerful. I told myself, if I improved this much in 1 month, imagine what I can do in 5 more months. And that thought kept me going stronger than ever. The second month of my journey was all about speaking. Listening and writing were good, but I knew that if I wanted to be confident, I had to open my mouth and talk. At first, this idea scared me. I was shy, and my pronunciation was terrible. I thought people would laugh at me. But then I remembered my promise to myself. I didn't care about mistakes anymore. So I started small. Every day, I talked to myself in English for 10 to 15 minutes, just like in the first month. But now, I pushed myself to talk longer. Sometimes, I talked for 30 minutes while walking around my room. I described everything I saw. This is my bed. It is soft. I am wearing a blue t-shirt today. I feel happy because I am practicing English. It felt strange, but it worked. Slowly, my mouth got used to forming English words, talking to real people. After 2 weeks of self-talk, I decided it was time to talk to real people. This was the scariest step for me. I joined an online language exchange app. The first time I spoke to someone, my hands were shaking. I forgot words. I repeated many times, and I felt nervous. But the person I talked to was kind. He said, "Don't worry, just speak slowly." That short conversation lasted only 5 minutes, but I felt like I had climbed a mountain. When the call ended, I jumped with happiness because I did it. I spoke English with a real person. From that day, I made it a habit. I spoke to someone in English 3 times a week, even if it was just for 10 minutes. Some people were from India, some from the Philippines, and some from America. Talking to people from different countries helped me hear different accents, and that improved my listening too. At first, I understood only 40% of what they said, but I didn't panic. I focused on understanding the main idea, not every word. Using English everywhere. Another thing that helped me was thinking in English. Whenever I was alone, I forced my brain to think in English instead of my native language. For example, if I was hungry, I thought, "I am hungry. I want to eat rice." If I was tired, I thought, "I feel tired. Maybe I should take a rest." At first, it was difficult. But after a few weeks, it became natural. My brain started to live in English, and that was an amazing feeling. I also changed my phone's language to English. Every app, every notification was in English. It was confusing at first, but I learned new words every day just by using my phone. A moment I felt proud. One day, something happened that made me feel so proud of myself. I was in a coffee shop when I saw a foreigner looking confused. He was trying to order something, but the staff didn't understand him. My heart started beating fast because I wanted to help. I took a deep breath and said, "Excuse me, can I help you?" The man smiled and said, "Oh yes, thank you." He told me what he wanted, and I explained it to the staff. It was a short conversation, maybe just 2 minutes, but for me, it was a big victory. 6 weeks earlier, I couldn't even say a simple sentence, and now I was helping someone in English. When I walked out of that cafe, I felt like a champion. That small success gave me so much motivation. I thought, if I can do this now, I will speak even better in a few more months. What I learned in the second month. By the end of the second month, my confidence was much stronger. I still made mistakes, but I didn't care. The fear was almost gone because I understood something important. People don't care about your mistakes as much as you think. Most people are kind and happy that you are trying to speak their language. The more you speak, the faster you improve. Books are good, but nothing beats real conversation. Confidence comes from action, not from waiting. This month changed me. I was no longer just learning English. I was living English. And this was only month 2. I still had 4 months left, and I was ready to work even harder. By the time I entered my 3rd month, I was no longer the shy beginner I used to be. I could introduce myself, ask simple questions, and have short conversations. But I wanted more. I wanted to speak faster, understand better, and sound more natural. So I decided to change my routine and make it more powerful. Shadowing, my secret weapon. The first new technique I tried was something called shadowing. I had read about it online, and many language learners said it worked like magic. The method was simple. 1. I chose a short English video or podcast with clear pronunciation. 2. I listened to one sentence, then immediately repeated it aloud, trying to copy the speaker's speed and accent. At first, it was so hard. My tongue felt heavy, and I couldn't keep up, but I didn't give up. I practiced every day for 15 minutes. After 2 weeks, I noticed a big change. My pronunciation got better, and I started to sound more natural. Sometimes I even shadowed English songs. I sang along like a crazy person, but it was fun and very effective. Watching without subtitles. In the first 2 months, I always used English subtitles when watching movies or YouTube videos. But in month 3, I challenged myself. I watched short videos without subtitles. At first, I understood maybe 30% of what they said, but I focused on catching the key words and guessing the meaning. After a few weeks, my listening improved a lot. One day, I watched a short interview with an American actor, and to my surprise, I understood almost everything he said. That moment felt incredible. I whispered to myself, "Yes, I can really understand English now." Speaking more, thinking less. In month 4, I made another big decision. I stopped translating in my head. In the beginning, I used to think in my native language first, then translate to English, and then speak. That made me slow. So I trained myself to answer immediately, even if my grammar was wrong. For example, if someone asked, "What did you do yesterday?" I didn't stop to think. I just answered, "Yesterday I go. No, I went to the park." I ate pizza. Yes, I corrected myself while speaking, but I didn't stop the conversation. The goal was to keep talking, not to be perfect. This made my speaking much faster and my confidence much higher. Joining an online group. Another great decision was joining an English-speaking online group. Every Saturday evening, people from different countries met on a video call and talked about simple topics like food, travel, or hobbies. The first time I joined, I felt nervous, but after a few meetings, I felt comfortable. I made new friends, and we practiced every week. One of my new friends, Anna from Brazil, said something that motivated me a lot. You speak better every week. Don't stop. In 6 months, you will sound great. Her words made me feel proud and pushed me to keep going. The amazing change. By the end of month 4, my English level was completely different. I could speak for 20 to 30 minutes without feeling tired. Understand English podcasts about 70% of the time. Use more advanced words like improve, confident, practice, and motivation naturally. I even started dreaming in English sometimes, which was crazy. One night, I dreamed I was in New York ordering coffee, and I spoke English the whole time. That's when I realized English was no longer just a subject I was learning. It was becoming a part of my life. And I still had 2 months left to reach my goal. I knew the last 2 months would be special. I told myself, these next 2 months will make me unstoppable. And I was ready to give everything I had. The last 2 months of my journey were the most exciting. I was already confident, but I wanted to reach a level where I could speak fluently and understand almost everything. I wanted to feel like a real English speaker, not just a learner. So I pushed myself harder than ever before. Month 5, living completely in English. In month 5, I decided to make my life 100% English. I stopped watching movies or reading anything in my native language. Every movie, every video, every book was in English. I started writing a daily journal in English. Every night before sleeping, I wrote 200 to 300 words about my day. At first, my grammar was not perfect, but I didn't care. Writing every day helped me think in English even more. I listened to English podcasts while cooking, eating, or even cleaning my room. I wanted my ears to hear English all the time. Something amazing happened after 2 weeks. My brain started to switch automatically to English. Sometimes, when I wanted to say something to myself, the words came out in English without effort. One morning, I woke up and the first thing I thought was, I am thirsty. I need some water. And then I smiled because I didn't translate it in my head. Month 6. Speaking like a confident person. The final month was all about fluency. I wanted to speak naturally, like I was just having fun. So I increased my speaking practice. I talked to language partners almost every day for 20 to 30 minutes. I joined an online debate group where people discussed different topics like, is social media good or bad? Or, should everyone learn a second language? It was difficult, but I learned many new words. I started telling short stories in English. Every day I recorded myself talking about something interesting, like my favorite childhood memory or a funny thing that happened to me. Then I listened to my recording, found my mistakes, and tried again. At first, I felt shy listening to my own voice. But after a week, I noticed my pronunciation improving and my sentences becoming longer and smoother. The big moment, my first long conversation. 2 weeks before my 6-month goal, something unforgettable happened. One of my online friends, Mark from Canada, invited me to a video call. Usually, our conversations were 10 or 15 minutes, but that day we talked for 1 hour nonstop. We talked about our hobbies, favorite foods, future dreams, and even joked about funny mistakes we made while learning languages. When the call ended, Mark said, "You sound amazing. I can't believe you started learning only 6 months ago." I couldn't stop smiling. My heart felt so light and happy because I had finally done it. I could have a full conversation in English for 1 hour without feeling tired or nervous. That was the moment I knew I reached my goal. Looking back, what I learned. 6 months earlier, I was shy, scared, and didn't even know how to introduce myself in English. But now, I could talk for hours with confidence, watch movies and understand most of the dialogue, think and even dream in English. I learned something very important during this journey. Consistency is everything. Even 30 minutes every day is better than studying for hours once a week. Mistakes are your friends. Every mistake teaches you something new. Enjoy the process. When you have fun, learning becomes easier and faster. Final words. You can do it too. So, this was my story, how I learned English in 6 months. If I could do it, you can too. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start today, stay consistent, and never give up. Imagine 6 months from now, you speaking English confidently, making new friends around the world, maybe even traveling to other countries and using English every day. It's possible, and it can be your reality if you take action. A special message to you, my dear viewer. If you enjoyed my story, please support me so I can share more helpful stories with you. Like this video if you feel motivated. Comment below. Tell me, how long have you been learning English? And what is your biggest challenge? Subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell because I will share more amazing tips and stories to help you improve your English faster. Thank you for watching, my friend. Remember, your English dream is waiting for you. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. See you in the next video. Bye for now.